Good afternoon. My name is Lynette Kashke, and I'm the Assistive Technology Specialist for West Hartford, Connecticut Public Schools. And joining me today is Rebecca Rodriguez, a graduate student from Central Connecticut State University, and she is focusing on pursuing a special education certification. And today what we're going to be discussing is Techtastic AT resources, making home-based learning a positive experience for students on the autism spectrum. And we both believe that this is very important at this time where we are engaged in remote distance learning at home. And so we want to make sure that we're giving resources to parents and educators that will help them to be able to work with their autistic students in the most beneficial way in a home setting. Rebecca?
Good afternoon. So I thought it'd be a good idea to open up with the iceberg theory. Our inspiration, or my rationale for joining on this project really came out of listening to a webinar from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, which has done a phenomenal job of creating a list of some resources available to students with autism during COVID-19. What they discussed is that we're seeing an uptick in and potentially an uptick in some negative behaviors among our autistic students. For example, on the top, we might see some aggression, we might see some repetitive questions, and we might see students just being a bit more despondent. But what's underneath is that there's a deep need for a maintenance of routine and perhaps some poor coping skills. And so what Lynette and I have done is that we've sat down and found resources, AT resources, that can be easily accessed for you all in regards to those two main topics.
So under the mindfulness resources, as you know, mindfulness has become a very prominent way and strategy in being able to help individuals, both with and without disabilities, to be able to cope with difficult, trying times. Mindfulness practices may be a viable technique, not only improving behavioral and cognitive responses with those with autism, but also the well-being of their parents. Research has shown that depression and anxiety disorders are the most common psychiatric concern with students who have autism spectrum disorders. Mindfulness-based activities have been found effective in reducing anxiety and depression. They help to build self-awareness and self-management. They also reduce stress, anxiety, and depression systems in parents. Parents can become very anxious and depressed when engaged in this new technology resource, trying to get used to managing computers and all of the lesson plans online. And you know, their students are at home, they're away from their peers, and so their structure has changed, their support has changed, and so it's a totally different situation for them. So having these coping skills and resources to be able to turn to be able to help them to address these areas is very helpful. Mindfulness also helps in enhancing social interactions. When you're more present in the moment and you're more comfortable with yourself, you're able to engage in relationships more comfortably. There are many apps and websites that address mindfulness, and these offer exercises that focus on specific areas such as building self-esteem, sleeping better, reducing stress and anxiety, developing gratitude, improving performance, and increasing happiness. These are a few of the apps that we had looked at in regards to very good resources that we currently use both in our district and also some that have some great potential for using both in the classroom and at home. Calm.com is actually the #1 app for sleep meditation and relaxation. It's on the computer and the iPad, and it's a free app, and it gives gives you choices of different areas in which you can turn on music, white noise, mindfulness techniques, and activities. The Relax Sounds app is actually one that I personally use. I like to be able to use white noise to be able to sleep. And the relaxing nature and ambient melodies really help to calm those students who are anxious and perseverating. And there's also yoga and meditation activities within there. Mindful Schools is a live online mindfulness class with students in kindergarten through 5th grade in mind. And that actually will help parents to have a structured way of being able to offer their students a time during the day where they can cut out and take a break from the studies and engage in some mindful activities. Kumbaya Yoga is a great website with videos and tips to teach students about mindfulness and yoga as well. Mindfulness exercises are just some simple and effective exercises that you can use throughout the day when you really need to get up and away from the computer or get up and away from the television or video game, and basically recenter yourself so that way you are more effective when you go and you approach your task at a later time. I know I need to do that at times too, get away from the computer, get up and stretch, and these are just some simple ways to be able to get away from the computer or get away from a task that you're engaged in and take a break. Everybody needs a break. There are some blog resources that I listed at the bottom. It's a really cute website that talks about 6 simple mindfulness practices for kids with autism. And I thought that would be a great place that parents can go and get some ideas for some simple mindfulness practices that they could use throughout their day in different settings for their students to be able to help them to get through this trying time. Now, also we're looking at communication resources, and these are very important when you're looking at students who have autism or they have students who have impairments in their ability to be able to communicate, which really will significantly impact every aspect of their ability to learn and function. And therefore, we felt that this was really important that we addressed this part of the resources as part of this webinar. Because if a student doesn't have a way to express themselves, then that can precipitate behaviors and anxieties and depression. So these are some of the communication apps that not only we use in our district in West Hartford, but also I found online that I thought would be really helpful for parents who have limited access to be able to get devices, or if they are limited in their ability to learn how to use technology because they don't have the face-to-face supports. They can try things out for themselves and things that are free. So the first one I was looking at was the communication cards, and that's very low tech, which is very simple. It doesn't require a lot of training to be able to use it, and you can just print it out and start it immediately. And these are free cards that you can print out and students can use and point to, and if they have a request, they can point to the picture and they can ask for what they want. It's very quick, it's a situation, and it will really help to de-escalate a student who is having difficulty trying to tell you what it is that they're feeling or what it is that they need or want. And that is noodlenook.net. And these are free boards that you can print out and use throughout the context of a student's day. JabTalk is also a mobile Android communication app, and that's free. And when you can find a really good free communication app, because a lot of times they're quite expensive, and and there's not a lot out there for a mobile Android device. JabTalk is a free device communication app, and it's really great because you can go in there, and it's really easy for those students who are just beginning to develop their communication skills. So basically, it's meant for those students who are toddlers that they can navigate really quickly, and also for those students who have other underlying needs like autism. And it's also good for those students who have processing issues where everything is really straightforward. You can go in, there's a board already set up, you can customize it and use pictures right from your library to pull in, make it customized so that way the students can be able to go in and recognize those items that they want. So it's very easy to use, and you can use it in any setting. Now, the Prolo Quote to Go and the Touch Chat, these two apps are quite expensive, and they are usually speech and language professional and AT recommended apps within our district, because they require the district to provide training to be able to customize and set up boards. But they are very good in the sense of where they grow along with the student. They can be customizable. They also are able to go in and use typing, and they can type in and listen to the sentence being spoken. The words are basically put into a grid, and so the grid has pictures, whether they're pictures from the library that's included within the apps, or you can take pictures, and then they press the button and a voice will say what the word is. So they're getting a multi-sensory feedback, so that way they can also learn how to say the word if they're working on speech and language objectives. And basically, so these two apps are expensive, but they are really great because they will cater to a wide range of fine motor, visual, and cognitive skills. They have core words that appear, and there are different boards on both the Proloquo and the Touch Chat where you can use a core words board that is just basically has the connecting words like is, the, if students are learning to form sentences, or you can use a basic board in Proloquo that just will have a word, and it would be the focus of what they want to get started, like just regular nouns and and verbs. The Touch Chat with the word power has actual different settings where you can go in and you can choose different pages. You can choose a Touch Chat page that has a lot of different connecting words and different ways to navigate. It all depends on the level of the learner. It all depends on what it is you want them to work on, how able are they to navigate screens. So these two particular apps are really great, but they really should be used in cooperation with a speech and language therapist as part of a therapy that will trial the technology to see whether or not this will benefit the student to their potential. But if you are a parent and you are at home, it's really great to have options to help your student to be able to find a voice, to be able to feel more comfortable in being and able to use their voice to say what it is they need and want, to de-escalate and to know that their needs will be met.
Hi, so I found a bunch of social emotional resources. Think of this as a mini toolkit to help students with their coping skills. So copingskillsforkids.com is a great resource. What it does is they have resources specific to helping students calm their anxiety, helping them deal with stress, helping them with anger management. And they have a wonderful resource on how to create a calm down space, which for our students with autism who are now in a home-based environment, they might have far more distractions and sensory input throughout the day as they're trying to learn, and they may require more breaks. And so finding a space for them and creating a space for them to take a temporary break is just a wonderful resource to have on hand. Modeling coping skills development, I like this. This is for the little guys, so my preschool guys and the elementary school age students. And this is a series of cartoons. They're about 5 minutes apiece, and they delve into how to work through a behavior. So if that's sadness, which some of our students may be experiencing in this this very quick transition to home-based learning, or perhaps anger in common situations such as, for example, a brother or sister breaking a toy. offer opportunities for expression. This is a list from the Autism Focused Interventions and Resource Modules that I briefly mentioned at the beginning of our presentation. It's a wonderful list of opportunities for expression or ways to help encourage our students to express their emotions via art and via journaling. More often than not, our students with autism need additional resources to help really communicate what they're feeling inside, and so just giving them an outlet is a great part of helping them cope during this difficult season. Social narratives. There are many new experiences that your student with autism may be experiencing at this time for the very first time. For example, taking an online test. So what a social narrative does is very briefly allows us to describe a situation for a student, to prepare them for a situation, and it directs, so it allows us to use one or two different directions to help guide the student toward an appropriate behavior. So I wrote a quick social story or social narrative about taking an online test, just as a model for you. You're welcome to use it, but here we go. I am going to have an online test. So this is descriptive. The test is going to have 60 questions. I will have 1 hour to answer all of the questions. When I start the test, I will see that each question has 4 possible answers. I will select the best answer from the 4 choices. So this is the directive. I will review the question, directive, and I will move on to the next question, directive. So it's a balance of both descriptive and directive sentences to help guide the student and reduce anxiety around new experiences. And the Vanderbilt site has a guide to help you create those stories. The Autism Circuit is a project based at ESC Region 13 and funded by a grant from the Texas Education Agency, and it has a wealth of resources, some of which I know Lynette has really dug into in the past. They have, for example, a break card that students can utilize in conjunction with making a calm down space. They have keychain rules, which they'll go into depth about how to create, but essentially they're a series of rules that a student keeps on a keychain, and they refresh their memory about correct behaviors that might be problematic throughout the day. Just a wealth of resources at your fingertips and for free. So resources for self-regulation routines and structure. This is that part of the iceberg that we might be struggling with. We might be seeing an uptick in some anger. We might be seeing an uptick in the opposite, which would be a level of disengagement. And that's why we need resources to just help keep our students actively engaged and participating in the classroom. One thing that we can use to do this, and that has a great evidence basis, is our timers. Timers are a wonderful resource because they allow the student to conceptualize how long they have to spend on a task, which could be a really repetitive question that you experience. Time tends to be a nebulous concept for students with autism, so they might question, how much time do I have to spend on this project? How much time has passed? When am I transitioning to the next activity? That's why, for example, a time timer app is a wonderful resource because, as you can see on the corner on the screen, it provides that visual for the student so that they can help keep themselves on track. The Pomodoro computer download is a great app for students who are in the middle to upper grades. What it allows students to do is to learn time productivity, which is not just a problem for students with autism, but really for most middle school and most high school students. And so it teaches students how to intensely focus for 25 minutes and then build in appropriate 5-minute breaks. And so a student will do this in 4 cycles, and then they get a larger break at the end. So it's really learning how to self-monitor their behavior and stay focused for a certain period of time. The Pomodoro app also allows students to mark their distractions, how many times they get off task, and it can allow a student and their parent to have a discussion about distractible behaviors and what they need to remove from the learning environment to optimize student learning as well. The forest timer and the bear focus timer are more for elementary and middle school age students, but certainly they can be used for any age group. The forest timer is a wonderful timer that also uses the Pomodoro method. And what it enables students to do is they log in, they decide how much time they're going to focus for. It's usually 25 minutes. That's what the app recommends, because it does use the Pomodoro method. And then if they stay focused for the full 25 minutes and they don't leave beforehand, the seedling that they plant when they log in turns into a tree. The more trees you gather, the more likely you are to create a forest. And the company that's behind the forest timer actually will donate a real tree to an organization called Trees for the Future. So it actually will go to a community in need of trees, such as communities who have experienced desertification. The bear focus timer is more for our younger guys, but there's a very grouchy bear who really enjoys fishing. And so when you're on target and when you're focused for 25 minutes, the bear is extremely happy. If you get off task, the bear's a little disgruntled. And fishing is interrupted. But what's so nice about this app is that it also combined white noise with the focus timer, which can help block out some extra sensory stimuli for our students with autism. In terms of maintaining a routine, so there's a behavioral contract. Behavioral contract can work well for elementary through high school. And so this is a template to help you build a template and a guide to help you build behavioral contracts. And that consists of identifying a problematic behavior, sitting down with the student, discussing their strengths, and a reasonable goal behind targeting the behavior, and identifying a reward for actively reaching that goal. Choice Works app, I'm going to turn that over to Lynette, because this is really one of Lynette's specialties. So I'm going to let her speak to this.
Thank you, Becky. We use ChoiceWorks app a lot in West Hartford Public Schools with those students who have difficulty in transitioning from one activity to another, and it causes them quite stress. It's not just good for students with autism, but also some of our learning disabled students, those students who have difficulty in self-regulation and management, and it offers them the ability to be able to help self-regulate and know what their schedule is. And when a student knows what their schedule is, it empowers them to know what is coming next, and it reduces that stress and anxiety of what is their day going to be like. And then they can buy into it more and be more actively participating within their day. ChoiceWorks app is an app for the iPad, and it's a great tool to help students to be able to create their schedule and then be able to follow it during the course of the day. So basically what it is you can customize a schedule by either using pictures from a picture library, or you can take pictures of the student either engaging in activity or a picture of the area in which they'll be participating in the activity, or even a person that they'll be going to meet for a therapy session. You create a schedule by placing the tiles in a row as to what comes next in their day. And when they go in and they approach that activity, then they can say, okay, I'm going to need to get on the bus to go to school. So there's, the picture of their bus or a picture of the bus from the library, and they can just, when they get on and they're finished, they swipe it over to the opposite side to show that they're finished. And that's a sense of accomplishment for some of these students too, to say, hey, I was able to finish this task. I was able to complete this. It also has different breaks built into it. So if a student needs a break, they can have choices of activities to that they like to do, that they prefer to do once they've completed their schedule, so that you can have a choice of either, working on an iPad or playing with a toy, or, sitting listening to music. So that helps them to know, after I finish this, then there's something in it where I can then go and relax, and I can say, gee, I've done a great job. And it's almost like a reward for them. There's also input where they can go through and throughout the day and kind of check where they're at regarding how they're feeling. Are they feeling happy? Are they feeling stressed? And so that's a great indicator for those students who have a difficulty expressing their feelings. So they can go in and they can share this with an adult in the classroom or their para, and they can say, well, I'm having a hard time and I'm feeling stressed. And that will let them know that the teachers or the parents know that they need help, which is so empowering. Again, that communication piece. So this app really is great to be able to incorporate into a student's daily schedule. And of course, there are great ways of being able to create transitional daily schedules just with paper and pencil, or even with tiles or PEX schedules and things like that. But having the iPad is so convenient. You can take it anywhere. You don't have to worry about pieces. And it really helps students to complete those routines and feel confident that they're a part of their day.
So if you do prefer the printout on paper type of schedule, Do to Learn has a range of excellent templates that can enable you to, they have some free graphics as well, so you can choose some of those graphics and you can build your own visual schedule. As Lynette said, it's just such a wonderful tool for our students to have a visual schedule because it helps signal the transitions and it takes out the difficulty of the transitions for them. And I will post an example of a visual schedule on paper so that you can see it if you've never been exposed to one prior. For the Breely Routines app, this is one of my favorites for younger guys, and I think that once my daughter is a little older, she'll respond well to this. It gamifies the routine. So for many of our students, relearning a new routine is a drudgery in addition to an anxiety-provoking time. But Breely, it combines visual schedules, chore charts, and voice prompts into a mobile app game. And so you go in as a parent and you create a visual schedule for your child. So first the child will wake up, then the child will get dressed, brush their teeth, eat breakfast, and log into Zoom. Once your child completes each action, they swipe the screen or the tablet, and then what they're able to do is they collect points. And so this can help you track how efficient the child's being. It can help self-motivate the child. Like, oh, they help them to set records. So there's a lot of great features in Breely. And then onto the organizational and design resources. So why would we include this in a coping skills and maintaining a schedule? Well, as some of you likely know, when a student with autism gets stuck, sometimes it's very difficult to get them unstuck. And so consider this your mini unstuck toolkit. In that, by providing organizers and providing sites such as Creately and Canva for Education, we're giving your students options as to how to communicate, maybe where they've gotten lost, or how to start a project, which can be a really intimidating activity for a student. For example, Whole Graphic Organizers has a range of graphic organizers, from organizing a main idea in supporting points. They have circle graphs, they have Venn diagrams, and you can go in and actually type up your points. And so there's more room for a student to express themselves. They don't have to worry about running out of room if you're on a page. The paragraph sandwich graphic organizers are great. For students who have autism, it can be central coherence could be a challenge. And so figuring out how to connect the small details to a larger picture can be a challenge. And having a resource like a paragraph sandwich, which I wish that I could project on the screen for you, can help them to see, well, this is the game plan. This detail starts from the intro, And I'm going to think about these 3 details and how they could go to the conclusion. If a student ever gets stuck while writing, they can refer to this as well. And if a student is unable to express themselves and where they're getting stuck, you can also, this is also a great indicator to see exactly where that's happening, and also a resource you can show to a teacher on your weekly Zoom meetings. My student can think of an introduction and a main idea, but my student can't think of a secondary supporting detail. So those are specific questions to bring to a Zoom meeting. MindMeister is great because it enables a student to note take in a different manner. It enables them to utilize, or well, to mind map, which utilizes keywords, pictures, and also a diagrams to help them remember the key points a teacher's saying. For our students who tend to get distracted, this is an excellent tool to help them stay on task and really focused as to, okay, what can I use to remember what the teacher is saying, as opposed to just aimlessly doodling. Another great reason to use MindMeister is in group projects. For our students with autism, group projects can be particularly challenging. And so having a note taker is just a wonderful way to contribute to a group in general. For our students, then mind mapping or creating an outline of what the group wants to do is a valuable contribution that could be used in the online team format. Creately and Canva for Education provide a wealth of examples of presentations and also presentation templates if your student is stuck. And so this is one way of helping a student move from a period of fear or hesitation about starting a project to understanding expectations around a project that they're expected to do for class. Ms. Lynette?
Yes. Did you want to speak a little bit about the Canva for Education? Because I know there's some really great resources in there that I've seen.
Oh, yes. They have a variety of different tools. So it's not just templates. You can make posters, infographics, presentations, and schedules as well. So it's really nice for our students who are creatively inclined, and really nice also for our students who might need some inspiration as to how to get started on a project as well.
Absolutely. And anything that we can offer our students that will help them visually to be able to gain actual understanding of what it is that they are expected to do, like Becky was saying, is very important. Anything visually to help them to be able to organize, because a lot of students who have the autism disorder and other learning disabilities have some of those central auditory processing issues where they really need that concrete, broken down step-by-step sequencing visual supports in order to be able to show what they know and do it to their potential. And as I was saying before, going into some of those processing and executive functioning disorders, students with executive functioning disorders really require a multisensory way of being able to express and be able to access their materials. A few of the apps that I really think are great in order to be able to help support students in being able to express themselves to their best ability, and being able to use their strengths in their learning styles, whether it be if they're an auditory learner or a visual learner, or someone who likes to tell stories, or someone who likes to write diagrams. Even in note-taking, sometimes students differ very much as to the way that they take notes and the way that they process notes. So the first app that I want to share is Pictello. And Pictello is really great because you can very easily create and share social stories and schedules and journaling by adding their own pictures, videos, and recordings. They can type in or speak in text and have it read back, and they create their own way of being able to share what they've learned in class or what they've experienced during their day. And it makes it easier for them to be able to build on those literacy skills and organizational skills, as well as having confidence in not only storytelling, but expressing themselves as to, what's going on with their lives. I can share an example of how we used it in the elementary, where we have students who are learning new skills and being able to take pictures of them step by step, completing the process, and then putting that into the Pictello story and showing how they're able to step by step complete that task, and then they can refer to it afterwards, and they can learn to be more independent in the way that they are able to complete the tasks in the future. So let's just say if they're learning how to make a recipe, they can show the first step would be to open the box. The second step is to pour the mix into the bowl. And so each step can have its own picture and the student engaged. And I think that's really important for the student to be able to be as independent as possible and see themselves within that task and being successful. So I think that's really important. And the visual and the auditory way of being able to, express it, it's key to their understanding and to their feeling like they are making progress. And we can see that progress as parents and teachers by sharing these videos, sharing these stories. And so it's a really great way to also assess student learning and student engagement. EduCreations is a really great interactive whiteboard and screencasting tool on the iPad that can be annotated into, animated. It's basically an interactive whiteboard that whatever you're doing, and you can see it live. So let's just say if a student's having difficulty in solving a problem, a math problem, basically they can record. The teacher can record how to solve the problem step by step, and then the student can go in and they can watch that process and then use the process in generalizing that skill in solving another problem. Or the student can then show how they're solving a problem or how they're doing a project in real time, and then the teacher can go in or the parent can go in and say, all right, well, let's see how we can help you in those areas in which you need some extra help. So I think it's really important that we have a tool that we can see how the students are actually performing and their knowledge of the academics, and then we can help them exactly where they are. Notability is an app. It's a note-taking app, and I know a lot of students who, not just with the autism spectrum disorder or learning disabilities, but a lot of students in general have difficulties with organizing their ideas in note-taking, whether it be for research papers or if they're going to be taking a test. Teachers give them electronic versions of their work, of their notes, or basically they have lectures that they need to take notes from. Some students are better sketching illustrations to remember key ideas for a test or a quiz. This particular app is very versatile, where a student can create contexts, so they can create notebooks within each area of their learning. So they have an English notebook and a science notebook. So each class can have a notebook. And then within that notebook, they can input things from Google Docs that teachers share with them. And they can go in and they can highlight it. They can hear it being read to them. They can record within it any key points that they feel are important. They can annotate within it and change and make circles or squares or highlight. They can also record lectures with the permission of their teacher, and then go back and listen to them and then pull out key information and type it right into the paper. They can sketch illustrations. They can go out to websites and pull website pictures in, creating research papers, essays. It's a great way to organize. It's a great way to document, and it's all customizable. Anything that's customizable for students and anything that's versatile, that has many different ways of them to be able to access, is always like the biggest bang for the buck when it comes to purchasing any app, any online program. And I think that the Notability is one of those that are very notable, if you will. And we have used it in West Hartford Public Schools. I've used it with students who are in high school, middle school, getting ready and preparing for the more rigorous requirements of college, students preparing for college. And it's been game changers for those students, and I've really seen them progress using that tool.
Ms. Lynette, would you like me to speak about local community resources after you speak about Neat Marketplace, which is definitely one of your second homes?
Yes, Neat Marketplace is the New England Assistive Technology Marketplace located in Hartford on the campus of Oak Hill School. They've been around since the early 90s, and they are an excellent community resource to provide assistive technology and technology solutions for people who have disabilities. There's a lending library. There are assistive technology professionals there who can answer questions regarding students' needs. There is professional development available, which I know I love to attend their classes, and they do a large they do a large spectrum of different classes on different apps, different solutions. They also have a house there that is a technology. It's incredible. It's a smart home, and it's filled with all different technologies that support people with disabilities to be able to access their home and access their community. They also have an equipment center where you can go in and purchase and or try different equipment like wheelchairs and mounts, and they have specialists there on site that can help you. They also do assistive technology evaluations and consultations for those who are outside of our district who don't have the opportunity to have an onboard AT specialist in their district. And the district will assist you in getting those resources as needed. New England Assistive Technology Marketplace is a gem for our area.
So the CERC library has an abundance of resources for parents and for teachers. It has curriculum sheets. It has access to different websites. They have specialists on hand who can speak to you about identifying resources that might help your child. They just have a wealth of knowledge in regards to multiple disabilities, and definitely in regards to autism. The West Hartford Public Library has links that are available to help parents who are navigating the online learning environment in terms of how to use Google Meets, how to use the Google package, and also some training on the Microsoft package as well. And then Lynette, would you like to speak about Autism Families Connecticut?
Sure. Autism Families Connecticut is a very special group of individuals who have loved ones. They have their own children. They have parents. They have people who are in their families who are affected by autism. And this is a great resource for them to be able to get recreational, social activities, and have a connection to their community. For people who have autism, you know, having that as a resource is very important, because a lot of people who have loved ones and children with autism often feel like they are alone, and they need to have the support of those who understand. And so they have safe, fun events for the whole family and provide opportunities for both children and parents to connect. And actually, there's a parent in our district who has a child who has autism, who is a key player and president of this company. So they understand the struggles and the challenges that families who have students and children with autism deal with. And, networking is always a wonderful thing. So to be able to network with someone who has the same situation that you're in and be able to find resources and interact with them, it makes a big difference. So there are a lot of additional free online resources, and we could go on and on forever, right, Becky?
Yes, we could.
Yes. So these are some of the more notable ones that are really helpful specifically to parents to help them support students who have special needs, who are accessing materials online, tips for parenting, supporting special needs, and for basically, helping them to feel more comfortable when accessing those individual learning plans and resources. So Noodle Nook has a website specific to helping those parents to feel more comfortable and know that they have those supports for resources to help them in teaching their students. I mean, a lot of these parents are now, focusing majority of their day helping their kids online and helping them to complete work, and they've never had to do that before. So it's always great to have resources that can help with giving tips on how to best support your student during this time. There's also the autism-focused intervention resources, which help parents to carry out instructional interventions and behavioral interventions with students with autism. I mean, a lot of times we have a team in the school, behavioral therapists and social workers and guidance counselors, and now parents don't have those instructors with them, those therapists with them. So being able to help give them tools to carry out those interventions and feel comfortable doing that, it's a supplement. Anything that we can do to help parents and supplement them, their need for help in carrying out these behavioral interventions and plans is always going to be very helpful. Autism Speaks is a comprehensive resource guide for all states, offering different resources in autism, whether it be psychological, behavioral, academic. Autism Speaks covers a wide range of what the available resources are for you, for your student with autism. And of course, there's social skills resources online to extend. And this particular PDF from indiana.edu is a great tool to have because it lists a ton of different social skills resources, whether paid or free, that you can check out to help to support your student at home with continuing working on their social skills and developing those social skills. During the time of the COVID and the distance learning, they don't have time with their peers, they don't have time with their teachers in the classroom. So being able to still continue to work on their social skills is very important, and these are tools that you can use to do that. Child Fun has some fun activities that you can do with your student that are tailored to students with autism that incorporate the visual, the textural, the kinesthetic, to keep them busy, to keep them happy, and things that will help them with the sensory and the music and the movement. So these are very important things to still incorporate into a child's day during the distance learning time. And then, of course, activities for teens with autism, which their needs are much different than students who are in the elementary level. And it's always like a challenge to figure out, well, what can I do with my teen? Even with a teen that doesn't have autism, their needs change, their preferences change. So to be able to connect with them at home and be able to do activities with them, it's really, parents appreciate those ideas. It's always good to have a pocket full of ideas. And then, of course, preschool activities for autistic children. The preschoolers are very challenging because they're different than your typical preschooler, and they have sensory needs, and they have communication deficits, and they have areas in which that you'll need to address to pull them out and engage them. And so having a tool like that will really help parents to be able to interact with their preschooler during this time. So we hope Becky and I hope that these resources will help during this crucial time, and that in supporting these students with special needs, you're also supporting the family, you're supporting the community, and basically you're creating a more comfortable and a more effective way of engaging students in learning. Because when students are comfortable and they're feeling confident, then they are better apt to learn and grow and progress in their studies and in their development. Becky, do you have anything to add?
That was a wonderful conclusion, Ms. Lynette. Absolutely, that expresses the intent and the rationale behind each of the resources we've identified for you in this webinar. I just want to add, though, any of these resources that we bring up, we bring them to your attention too because you've always been the child's first teacher, and so as you've increased your teaching role, any of these resources are resources that you can use to help guide your conversations with special ed teachers on Zoom or other meetings throughout the week. And that way you can have some confidence. And the autism focused intervention resources and modules, AFFIRM covers, so the 27 evidence-based practices that the teachers and behavioral intervention specialists, we talk about and we integrate throughout the week. And that's a great tool to help you clarify perhaps any jargon that you might come across as we're in the middle of this transition. So I'm all set.
Well, I just want to say thank you very much, Becky, for your collaboration and your excellent resources and help with this presentation. I really enjoyed working with you, and I'm hoping that this webinar will be helpful to all of those who are in need of some online resources to help them with their students during this crucial time. And I hope that this time will pass and we can all meet again in person. And I thank you very much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you.